Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. And I think my colleague, our policy chief, the Democratic Caucus, just did an amazing job in outlining some of the frustrations that we have with this bill. And I'm going to start off with first echoing the point that there is bipartisan interest in ensuring our elections are secure and that there's integrity and that they are smooth and deliver fast results. And ironically, in 2020, Governor DeSantis, after the 2020 election cycle, said exactly that Florida had one of the smoothest, well-run elections. He bragged about the fact that we actually had election results before other states did because of how we processed our vote-by-mail ballots. And all it took was just a few days of waiting for other states to kick in, of the numbers showing that President Trump was not going to win, for the tone to change overnight. And all of a sudden, we needed to completely overhaul our election system, not because we had evidence of a need, not because there were concerns about election results. As far as I'm aware, I don't think any one of us have contested each other's elections. And I don't think any member of the Democratic Caucus contested that Trump won Florida. And so despite that truth in this space among all of us, the national rhetoric took over. You have the pillow guy like suing machines now. And you know, for those who are on the Republican aisle, you're kind of caught up in this situation where unless you start saying the election was fraudulent, you're going to be primaried. And I actually kind of am worried for y'all. I was in an email chain, and I'm sure actually everyone was, with some Floridians and Senator Travis Hudson about one of his bills, for the one we actually have it on the agenda later for identity cards. And they called him Senator Travesty because they accused his bill of creating voter fraud. And I sat back there, A, wondering why I was in this email thread, and why I'm checking it, but B, just kind of taken aback by a well-known conservative Republican senator being attacked by members of his own party on inaccurate claims. He even emailed back and explained what his bill did, and it made the situation worse.
Representative, can you keep your debate to this bill, not a different one that'll be on the agenda later? You're recognized.
Happy to do that, Mr. Speaker. Recognized. Thank you. It is related, because my point is that these are folks that were upset about a bill that they thought was going to make election systems worse, and it wasn't. And that is what's happening today, is that there is this undertone, there's this disinformation that voters think there's something wrong with our system, yet there is no evidence to do so. And when you craft bills like this, you're feeding into that disinformation. And you're often doing it because of a political consequence if you don't. And so with that said, I do want to amplify that this type of policy approach has unintended consequences, because this election security police force that the governor wants, it's not just a hotline. It is indeed incidents that can be self-driven, that can be self-pursued, and there are no guardrails to prevent this new security investigative force from being used to go after political opponents. And if President Trump had something similar, we might have seen an even longer conclusion to the 2020 election cycle. And please remember, members, that the insurrection took place on January 6th was tied to people saying the election was stolen. And so if you're feeding into that rhetoric, you're also giving more ammunition to that type of behavior. And I don't think that's what we should be doing in the Florida House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.